and welcome once again to Talking Pictures Podcast. I'm your host David, and joined with me, as always, my co-host Brian. Brian, how are you today? That perfectly describes the mood for this episode.
Yeah. We're here to talk about a movie that I'm gonna let David take the reins on to lead this episode. He's a fabulous talker, so he is. But I do just want to give a quick shout out for a trailer that's been released. Yeah,
please.
That trailer's been great. You know, I was looking forward to the movie. Mm-hmm. I didn't think that. I wasn't expecting the trailer to be released when it was released earlier in the week.
Yeah,
and I'm glad now that I have something to look at.
Yeah, and look forward to. Yeah,
as opposed to thinking about what it's going to look like, how it's going to feel, how they're going to market it. Mm-hmm. Because it was on my letterbox list and I have been anticipating it, but like I said, I wasn't expecting the trailer to come, and I think your man in it looks good. I'm curious to see. Hopefully,
and the girl, she looks good in it also.
Yeah. They didn't really mark so much of her in the trailer compared to him, so hopefully we get enough screen time for the two of them.
Yeah.
But I did. Let's just say I wasn't expecting it to market it this way. Like I thought it was gonna go in one direction, in one lane to market it, to sort of set the vibe of the movie, but it's going in the opposite way, which I'm not opposed to. We'll just wait and see. It's coming out this year.
Hopefully.
Well, if it doesn't get pushed, so until then, I keep my fingers crossed. It wouldn't have, if the trailer was released when we were doing our top 10 anticipated movies 2024. It still would not have made my list.
Okay.
Did you like it?
I'll be honest, I didn't see it.
You didn't see the trailer?
I didn't see the trailer.
Right. Well then, sure, you'll let me know what you think then.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
But David. So David, why don't you just continue on into today's episode and what we're discussing?
So we're here to talk about the final entry into the DCEU.
And what movie is that?
It's Aquaman,
Aquaman and the 3 6-packs.
And the Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which in a way was representative, I think, of the whole DCEU as of late, and that's just disappointing. Just a real, what should be a thunderous applause was a real just sigh of okay, that's over, I guess. Let's move on to the next thing.
We need a break.
Yeah.
Just like Marvel, we need a break. Jesus. Well, Sony's gonna take the year if they play their cards right.
See, while Marvel does need the break, it did start out very well and continued to go very well, whereas the DCEU has just been stumbling for the last 10 years. It never ever found its feet.
Never.
No.
It might have one or two or three individual great movies.
It does have individual great movies, but as a connected universe, it just felt like Warner Brothers just like, have you seen the MCU? Do that now for us and make us money. Do it now. And they just didn't really care, and they didn't care about creating a shared universe. They just throw that person in there, throw that person in there, do it now.
So the way it all worked out, Zack Snyder made his Superman movie and it was fucking phenomenal.
Absolutely.
I saw it twice when I was in Australia.
Incredible.
The fucking soundtrack, David.
Oh, it still gives me goosebumps. Absolutely, I 100% agree.
And then some executive at Warner Brothers who's not in charge anymore, thank fuck, just like, look what Marvel's doing. We want that. Mm-hmm. Put Batman, the man, the opposite of him. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we should have seen the foreshadow set up when they got Ben Affleck, because even though everyone didn't like it, and everyone didn't like it.
No.
Anyone who's not me and you. I didn't give a fuck. Ben Affleck, cool. Mm-hmm. Just because I know who he is doesn't mean I'm not opposed to it. What, you have a problem with his Daredevil or something? So to do that, and then he threw Wonder Woman into it, and so they want their cinematic universe, and because this guy is next here doing his thing, he'll we want Avengers,
and they wanted Avengers from the get-go.
Yeah,
because that's what Batman vs Superman was their attempt at getting the Avengers straight away. Because don't forget, when the MCU started with Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk, Thor, Captain America, and then Avengers. Whereas for the DCU, it went Man of Steel,
Batman vs
Superman, which features Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and then security cam footage of Aquaman, the Flash, and Cyborg, and then it's Justice League. So there's no setup.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I would argue no movie ever needs a setup, just because we know those characters of Justice League to be quite, let's say, well known. It just depends how you write it. Yeah, we did not know the Guardians of the Galaxy, but we didn't need set up for them.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah,
it just depends how you write them, and as evident of the DCEU, which they called it for a long time, and then they tried not to call it. Copying Marvel. They just ended up fumbling because you know the crack.
Yeah.
After the unfortunate tragedy that happened to Zack Snyder when he was doing Justice League, he stepped away. But Warner Brothers didn't want him doing that movie. They wanted him away, but they wanted to get bonuses because it's run by businessmen and executives. I don't know the details, but I know the surface level information, and that because they have set Justice League for a release date, they need it shot and done and released on said release date. Tragedy befalls to Zack Snyder. He departs. What did they do? They had no choice to have him do it because they couldn't find anyone else, and he was there on the button to do it. He wanted to do his own. Tragedy. They get in the guy who did the first two Avengers, Joss Whedon. Care to tell us what happened there?
What about Joss Whedon being a piece of shit? Yeah, Joss Whedon was a piece of shit and made a piece of shit movie.
Yeah, and to talk about not finishing the movie Zack Snyder was doing, just with Joss Whedon's personality into it, he decides to change a lot of the movie, therefore causing lots of more money to be put into it, therefore causing Henry Cavill to act with a mustache. CG died out because he was shooting Mission Impossible, causing a lot of just. I think the executives just wanted to rid themselves of the dark and dreariness and make it more colourful, because at the end of Justice League, the theatrical one, it was colourful and all that. That was shocking. And then, was it then before Justice League we got a Wonder Woman movie and a Suicide Squad?
It was, yes.
Yeah. So we got a Wonder Woman movie set up, and that was everyone liked that, to say the least. I think everyone. I think
so. Yeah.
Everyone liked that. No doubt, Chris Pine was the main point of it. But the Suicide Squad, yikes.
Yeah.
The one with Jared Leto and Will Smith, yikes.
Yeah.
That's it. Now I like David Ayer as a director, but Warner Brothers fucked him over in that. I'm not going to argue Jared Leto's Joker. I have no problem with him. They just sort of wrote him better. I like Jared Leto's Joker. And then we get the Justice League fiasco. Yeah,
so you had all of those leading up to Justice League. And then what's interesting is right after Justice League, we had Aquaman.
Yeah.
Who is, in all fairness, and has always been really in the mainstream media, a bit of a joke character.
Have you seen The Deep in the Boys?
Yeah. He's the parody of Aquaman. But somehow that original movie made $1 billion. And it just kind of came out of nowhere. And I think that really, I don't know, I can't even describe it like that. It's just kind of shocking that I think all of the DC movies to that point, that Aquaman was the one to make $1 billion.
I think the refresher from the dread, dark and dreary juxtaposed to the laser sharks and octopuses,
the bright colours,
hitting drums, and just a bit of sit back, stretch and loose, and just enjoy the the dumbness, because it was fine. I think Jason Momoa, that's what, Game of Thrones and all, but he's Aquaman now, and he's not skinny, slim, bleach blonde haired, laughing stock. He's Jason Momoa.
Yeah. He's Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
he's...
Yeah.
God bless Zack Snyder for casting him as Aquaman. Weren't expected it. Like, I'm sure people like, that's Aquaman? Mm-hmm. He looks dope. So, I like the first Aquaman movie. I like Black Manta in it. Mm-hmm. I like Patrick Wilson as Orm. It doesn't seem like you get Patrick Wilson in a movie like that unless he's a collaborator directing it, such as James Wan, who's only known for horror mostly. Here, but for a while it was DC getting all their horror directors to do superhero movies. David Sandberg from Lights Out to
do Shazam,
yeah, and James Wan, Insidious and Conjuring to Aquaman, and I would argue Andy Muschietti from It and Mama to The Flash.
Yeah.
So like it's quite a thing that they were doing.
But I suppose with that making $1 billion, that's why this movie now, the new Lost Kingdom, that's why it was so fast tracked, because I think it was within a month or two that they greenlit a sequel.
Oh yeah, when something makes money, you make another one.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the belief.
Now this one had a bit of, this one I think had the most trouble.
Actually, I think The Flash was the one that had the most trouble.
Well, okay, let's break that down. And I suppose in the trouble that I'm talking about is that Aquaman has its main co-star being Amber Heard. Yeah. Now in the first one, she's not so much in the second one, but she was it last year at the very heart of a very big controversy, which was her trial with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Where she lost, and she's come out with a terribly negative image. Mm-hmm. And then as well as that, on top of that, we're going into this knowing that it doesn't matter because the whole universe is getting rebooted. It also comes after The Flash, where it seems that the universe has been rebooted. So it just really, and it just is coming out at a point where, I don't want to be mean about this, but who cares? Do you know what I mean? Who cares about this movie? There was nothing in it. There was no connective tissue to any other DC movie, any other DC character outside of Aquaman.
I'm sorry, did you want to see Wonder Woman pop up again?
No, I didn't want to see, but any kind of connective tissue, news article where they're talking about climate change and Wayne Enterprises are doing this to help combat it or something, just like, or LexCorp or something, anything just to say, yeah, there is still some kind of connective tissue. That's what these, superhero movies are known for now, is their interconnectivity. But now this one it's at the end of the DCEU. It's not connected to anything, and we know that it doesn't matter anymore, because with James Gunn's Superman Legacy to come now in 2025, that's where is a new starting point. So because we're not going out on a huge hurrah of a huge Justice League movie fighting Darkseid or something like that, it's just Aquaman fighting Black Manta with Orm and Amber Heard, or Mira, whatever her name is. It feels like a real wet fart compared to what, in all honesty, the way that, say, it's unfair to compare them to this, right? But Avengers Endgame, if you ended the MCU on that is a spectacular feat of cinema, to go from Iron Man to Endgame and ending on such a huge climax, everyone satisfied, incredible. And then you have the DCU, which starts with Man of Steel, incredible, great story, and ends with Aquaman. Awesome, cool. It just, what was the arc here? What was the start to finish? I know that obviously the MCU is not finished, but you could very much draw the line in the sand there at Endgame. Yeah. And we're obviously continuing past that. We're doing the multiverse saga. But just if you look at the DCEU now as a whole, what was the point? There was no point. We'll go into that more when we do our bonus episode. Or maybe we'll do it as a main topic. I don't know. But back to actually Aquaman. I don't know about you. Okay? I was just very bored the entire time.
Really?
Yeah. I just felt like there was, even though it's full of action set pieces, I was just bored. There was nothing like visually interesting. I felt like the CGI was very like floppy. Or I don't even know how, or like rubbery or something. Like there was at certain points where I was looking at stuff and I go, I could genuinely be watching Spy Kids 3D right now.
That's a fun movie though.
I know, yeah, but I think everyone knows what the CGI was like in Spy Kids 3D. And that's not what I'm expecting from Warner Brothers superhero movie, the sequel to $1 billion movie in 2023.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Maybe that's because of the fact that a lot of it is taking place underwater, so it is supposed to look a little bit different, but it just wasn't good enough in my eyes.
You say you were bored?
I was just bored, yeah. I didn't care really about anything that was going on.
Me too.
Yeah. It just...
You said that, to sum it up, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
You're right, who cares? But to counter that, just who cares? Just enjoy it. It's over.
Yeah, I suppose...
Enjoy it if you can. So, I'm not gonna fault this movie for failing to close the DCEU because it was never ever destined to be that, nor was it ever really planned ahead to... It was always trying to copy Marvel to do its thing.
Maybe I'm being unfair to it in that sense, and because it was written and directed before the takeover.
It was supposed to come out before Flash, before Shazam 2, before a load of things. It's a lot of things just held it up. Then a whole load of reshoots, yeah, because, you know, filmmakers can make mistakes and they schedule actors to do reshoots. And then in this whole process, and I think when it got to Black Adam, remember that?
Yeah.
So when it came to that point, it's almost like when Warner Brothers really got a change in leadership with David Zaslav. I know he's the man capable of axing Batgirl and Coyote versus Acme. He is that guy because he is a businessman, but he is a respectable one towards filmmaking and good filmmaking. He didn't axe these movies and write them off as, you know, tax rewrites, but he gave James Gunn and Peter Safran the roles of doing the DC catalogue justice like Marvel was. James Gunn on the creative front, Peter Safran on the executive front. There was no saving the DCEU for a long time. I don't know where it got to a point where you couldn't save it. Maybe it was where you do a Birds of Prey movie, or when you do a Zack Snyder Justice League cut, which is whether or not you consider that canon to the main Justice League timeline, because it is just Zack Snyder, an auteur, making his cut of his movie, disregarding the rest of the universe, even though he did have his own plan, you know, restore the Snyderverse whole thing. I think that the right choice, and even so, James Gunn still came in, did his thing as an auteur in the Suicide Squad. He was given any IP, any intellectual property he wanted. He would have preferred him not to do Wonder Woman because Patty Jenkins was doing her thing. We all know how that turned out with the sequel. I still love Pedro Pascal. But James Gunn decided to do Suicide Squad. He was offered Superman if he wanted it, but Suicide Squad he chose. And who would have thought after that first Suicide Squad they would have wanted to do another one? Well, James Gunn did, and then he did Peacemaker, and then in around that time he was given the role. So they had to make a new DCEU. DCU is it called, or James Gunn's DCU. And if you like what he did with Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, oh boy, it's actually not really going to start with Superman Legacy is going to be Creature Commandos at the
Yeah.
end of 2024 as an animated show. You know what? I'm going to stop where I am now because I'm getting into the DC catalogue. I'm going to go bounce back to Aquaman. But that's my defense in how this movie was in the process of being made, or it was shot when the announcement was to end this.
It. Yeah.
So there's no point. You have to
take it what it is, not what it is.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, fair enough.
So who cares? Just enjoy it as you can.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what, David? As bored as I was with A Load Apart, the highlights for me, wow, Amber Heard is still hot. And she's in quite a bit of the movie, more than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Nicole Kidman's quite hot. And she was... Did we need her? Did you have to pay her to be there? And... I thought, wow, I never thought I would have ever wanted to have a sidekick in that of an octopus making fun gurgle noises. Mm-hmm. Because every time that fucking thing was on screen, more please. Mm-hmm. I want the octopus. Toto, I don't know what you thought, but I just loved seeing that thing there.
I didn't think much of it, to be honest. It just didn't hit for me, obviously, as much as it did
I
for you.
really like the fuck when Aquaman comes out of the sea riding the fucking seahorse and the octopus is on it. I think that was in the marketing somewhere. I
definitely had seen that before.
Yeah, I like that. But then even more so to bring back the side villain from the previous movie and make him the central antagonist here in this movie, in that Black Manta, and swap it around with the main villain from the first movie, Ocean Master, to have him be the sidekick, the other half of the buddy road trip in Orm to Aquaman as brothers. You know, the first one was a romance. This one is a bromance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I liked Black Manta in the first one. Here is like, yeah, okay, do your thing. I'm not invested. I'm just watching. Can you be cool at least? Can you look cool while you do these things?
Yeah. It just felt very like, I don't know, petulant or something like.
That's a word I wouldn't know. What does that mean?
Like when he's there in the, like he's just a bit childish, I suppose. Like it's very surface level. Like, oh, I'm getting revenge for my father's death. It's very surface level, and when he's talking to himself in the mirror, and your man comes along and he just like looks at him and like closes the door, and I'm like, why didn't you do this with the door closed? Maybe I'm nitpicking and all, but like,
I would think those are nitpicks, but I do agree. It's Yahya Abdul-Mateen II said this himself. It felt like he was doing clown work. Yeah,
I really like Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
I fucking love him. I think he's great. I want to see more of him. Mm-hmm. Get him. He could have been in Furiosa.
He did this instead, did he?
No. He had to drop out for something else.
All right, okay.
But he could have been in Furiosa.
I know. I really do enjoy him, so I want to see more of him. Should we jump into some flashbacks before we talk a little bit more about Aquaman?
Please.
Laura, play the flashbacks. Nicole, please. Thank you, Laura. So, flashbacks for Aquaman. We named the flashback section after the Flash, and now here we are at the end of the DCEU with Aquaman. So, some facts for you here. Despite working as a performer since the early 1980s, this film marks Nicole Kidman's first movie sequel in which she appeared in the previous entry. She previously appeared in the sequel Batman Forever, but did not appear in the previous two movies nor the follow-up. I think she plays the love interest in Batman Forever. She against Val Kilmer.
I completely forgot that was Nicole Kidman. Do you want to know something funny? I only copped this recently as I watched the movie, really. My first notice of identifying who Nicole Kidman is by looking at her face was in the first Aquaman movie.
Really?
Let me elaborate.
Please.
I heard the name Nicole Kidman all my life. Mm-hmm. Just like Jennifer Aniston or Cameron Diaz. Mm-hmm. I heard the name Nicole Kidman. Not a bother. But if I saw her on screen, I wouldn't have known who she is.
Mm-hmm.
And fun little tip here, flash fact within a flash fact. The actress who played Superman's mom was originally going to be the actress who played Wonder Woman's mom.
Oh, okay.
And the actress who was originally offered the role of Wonder Woman's mom ended up being Aquaman's mom.
Oh, and Nicole Kidman was offered
To be Wonder Woman's mom.
Amazon. Yeah, okay. Interesting.
Just a little fun fact. But back to the point. From 2018 onwards, I know who Nicole Kidman is and was. And yes, of course, if I go back to previous movies, yeah, alright.
You recognise
I'll recognise her. But I have seen a shit ton of stuff with her in it. Whether it's shows or movies like Big Little Lies or The Northman or that movie she did with Javier Bardem.
Keeping Up with the Ricardos or something, was
the
that?
Ricardos, yeah, I believe that was. So, just to name a few. So from then on, I know who Nicole Kidman is by looking at her face.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
crazy that this is her first sequel, and in a similar way to Joaquin Phoenix, that his first sequel now will be the
Joker 2.
Joker 2.
Yeah.
Funny how that worked out. Flash fact number 2. Former DC Films president Walter Hamada wanted Michael Keaton's Batman to be similar to Nick Fury, having cameos in multiple films including Batgirl and The Flash and this film. However, reshoots shifted the schedule and this film ended up being released after The Flash, so Keaton's cameo was reshot with Ben Affleck. But this scene, however, didn't make it actually into the final theatrical cut.
So did Michael Keaton shoot something?
I don't know. The flashback doesn't say. But I say, well, I don't know.
I know Ben Affleck was on set with Jason Momoa to shoot something.
Yeah.
So, oh cool, we're gonna get Ben Affleck back. It's funny, everyone likes Ben Affleck now all of a sudden after hating.
As soon as he started becoming like cameo, as soon as he was like, oh, he's gonna be in The Flash and he's gonna be in this, that and the other, then everyone was like, oh yeah, brilliant, get him back. But no one liked him when he was there to begin with. So it's nostalgia glasses. Everyone always likes what came before. As soon as anything new comes along, they like what previously happened. And then the final flash fact is that this is the 4th DC movie that was released in 2023. We had Shazam! Fury of the Gods, The Flash and Blue Beetle, and now Aquaman.
What was your favourite?
Oh, fuck. That's actually a tough question because I really didn't like any of them. Probably Blue Beetle.
So you didn't like Shazam?
No.
You didn't like really Aquaman?
No. The Flash, no. Blue Beetle, yeah. Blue Beetle because it was original. Felt like, yeah.
That's funny. I saw Blue Beetle in Vienna, so I don't associate it with seeing it at home. It feels like something that's come and gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fleeting.
Yeah.
Like I'd be surprised to see him again.
Blue Beetle?
Yeah, even though James Gunn has said that we will see him in his new DCU, that Blue Beetle is the first character of this new DCU that we'll see. It's interesting.
You gotta give some leeway when James Gunn says stuff.
Absolutely,
because he's human.
Yeah, and we don't know, his plans shift and change when it comes to.
And that's fine. Yeah. When he says Blue Beetle's character, okay, but well then really it's Amanda Waller or Peacemaker, who's the first characters. But him keeping Peacemaker, Waller, Blue Beetle, and whoever else he mentioned, not a huge list at all, but whoever he said is going to continue over into the same roles. They're not playing the same characters canon to what we've seen. Mm-hmm. They will play the same characters, just rebooted, refreshed. Mm-hmm. Characters who...
Like seeing J.K. Simmons play J. Jonah Jameson again.
Or like seeing Charlie Cox as Daredevil in the MCU now. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's what... Realistically, that's what we should have always thought.
Yeah.
Just, they're playing the same character. It's just a different version. Mm-hmm. You know? It's like Dame Judi Dench reprising her role to play M in a new reboot of James Bond.
Yeah.
Like, no one questioned it. Like, Jesus, are we that stupid? Can we not draw comparisons these days?
Everyone needs to have it exactly splayed out. Yeah. And that brings an end to our flashback section.
Interesting flashback section.
Laura, play us out of here.
hey, hold on. Just because you didn't like The Flash doesn't mean like we got our flashback section.
That's okay. Yeah, okay. My favorite one was The Flash because we got the flashback section out. Are you happy now? Laura, Laura, get me out of here. Get me out of here. Awesome. Okay, so one thing I think that it's worth mentioning because it was good was the bromance between Orm and Aquaman.
I thought you were going to say the octopus.
No, get over the octopus, man. No, I thought that the bromance between the two of them was good. I will give it that. Like, I did like seeing them.
What is it? Is it because I don't feel like you can actually say they're opposites.
No, I think I do like a story in which very clearly there's one character who likes the other and the other character doesn't, but secretly does and warms up to him, and like, you know, you get those moments where Aquaman will walk away and will linger on Orm and he kind of like smirks a little, like shakes his head like, you know, he doesn't want to admit that he actually does like him. Yeah. I do like those kind of relationships of like a reluctant friend or a reluctant friendship. So I just did like that, and I thought there were some funny moments. Like,
I liked how in one scene previously when they're running away from whatever the fuck
I was just about to say that, yeah.
So you see them running into the ocean, and I liked how the octopus was wrapping itself around Jason Momoa, and Momoa was like trying to get it off him. You notice how Orm was running.
Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck's going on here? And he's only ever spent his life underwater.
But you don't think about that until you see it again in the next scene later in the jungle, and Aquaman asks him, "What are you doing running like that?" This is how I run.
Yeah, I don't know how to run. I've never had to run before.
Yeah,
that was quite funny. I did actually,
and then he ends up being faster than Aquaman.
I did actually quite like the moment where he's obviously been in the desert and he's been starved of water, and then the wave crashes over him, and then he's all bulked up. Patrick Wilson's character?
Yeah, he's one of the 3 six-packs.
Yeah. So we have Aquaman, Orm, and who's the third six-pack?
I'm waving my hand, because Yahya Abdul-Mateen is Black Manta.
Oh, yes. I forgot about it.
Yeah, we got a shot. He's sitting in the chair with the green eyes and he's shirtless. Yeah, so
the money shot.
Oh, man, tell you.
So I did like that. I liked that. I thought that was a good visual representation of that. It's not that he's been starved, it's that he is Atlantean and he needs the water. Yeah. I thought that was a good shot.
When have you ever seen P. Willie like that? Like, I mean,
P. Willie, say that to his face. Hey, P. Willie, what's happening, man?
He went to the gym. He directed his first directorial debut earlier this year in Insidious. I don't
know.
Well, he did a good job.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And I liked the
octopus.
Fuck off with your octopus, man. What the fuck's with you with the octopus?
I thought it was funny.
No, the conversation that Orm and Aquaman have where he says like, hold on, so you didn't want to be king of Atlantis?
That was good.
And he's like, no, I told you from the start I didn't.
That was good, yeah.
The whole last movie was a complete misunderstanding from Orm's part. And he's like, you trained your whole life to fight me and then immediately died when I had no prep time at all. Like, I thought that was quite funny, and like,
he's almost, I hate to make the connection to Fast and Furious franchise, but he's like John Cena. He just needed a hug. Yeah. Orm just needed a hug.
All a big misunderstanding.
Yeah. He let his ego get the better of him.
Mm-hmm. But I thought then at the end that he was going to get the throne back. Based on Aquaman, like, you're the better ruler, you're better for this.
I thought that was maybe something they were possibly hinting at.
Mm-hmm. And then Aquaman would just be then the kind of the warrior, the protector, I suppose, and Orm be the actual ruler and work together.
I was expecting a scene where he would have a moment with Mera before we get to the climax as like, hey type of thing, but we didn't get that, but we did get an acknowledgement between the two where Orm does save Mira from being pierced with the
Black Trident.
Yeah.
And it felt like Mira's scenes were cut down specifically because of the Amber.
Do you know what Mira's scenes were? Mira's what?
Hold baby.
No. Here's what Mira's role was in Aquaman 2. She was there to fight. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
She was there as part of the team. Mm-hmm. Even when she was there, parenting with Arthur, Aquaman, she was always there second.
She felt like she was, if she's in the scene, she's in the background and blurred.
She has no scenes where she leads herself.
Absolutely not. No. She's only there as a, when Arthur's there sitting on the throne and she's beside him.
If she's in a scene with Nicole Kidman as the mother, it's Nicole Kidman leading that scene. Yeah. Not Mira.
No, there's no scene where Mira is there and not featuring another main character.
Or being observed or from someone else's perspective. Mm-hmm. Now, I was actually genuinely surprised to see how much she was in it based on how little she was in the trailer.
Yeah, she's only in one shot.
One shot in the trailer where she hits a piece of glass.
Yeah.
What was that? Why that? Why that specific thing? It was just weird. You were hiding her. Yeah, I get with the controversy, but you know what? Just because the actor, she did. I don't want to get into the whole Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing, but it's not as if she. Well, did she physically abuse Johnny Depp?
To be honest, I'm not well informed enough.
Well, I'm not well informed either, but I'm just gonna assume that she didn't, so long as I'll assume Johnny Depp didn't. Because if Johnny Depp did, then she did too. Vice versa. Mm-hmm. And as much as people love Johnny Depp and are on his side, whether that's unfair or not, Johnny Depp is not really in the limelight of Hollywood either. Mm-hmm. He's just more established as a veteran. Mm-hmm. So, what I'm trying to say is Mira, I liked seeing, and I didn't care it was Amber Heard playing. I was actually more reminded of the whole controversy by how little she was in the movie.
Yeah, like in their attempt to
limit her,
it actually shone a brighter spotlight.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, so you're hiding her, so now I'm looking for her. Yeah.
Man, she's fit. I'm telling you. What? Yeah.
She's a good looking gal. Like,
she is a great looking gal. Yeah. I'm telling you.
I think another thing about this, I think you'll see it, separate to the movie itself, but you kind of touched on it there. I think when this finishes up and we see the box office and all, I just feel like very little marketing for this movie as a whole. Feels like it is going to come and go, and the only people that are going to see it were people that were kind of looking out for it. I don't feel like I've seen very many trailers. I don't feel like I've seen posters anywhere. I haven't seen anything actually advertising this movie. It feels like they're really just trying to get it out and move on. Yeah.
Well, I think that adds to superhero fatigue. But now, when I say fatigue, I actually really mean mediocre superhero fatigue. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. So when it comes to a CGI green screen shabackle where this character has to do something when he knows he can't, and so he has to do this when he knows he has to, but really it was in him all along,
it was inside him.
Yeah, so like shit, I think people are just fed up with that because it's just becoming, you can almost like compare like every superhero movie these days is just like every musician biopic these days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've got 3 different stories, pick one. Yeah. And fit your superhero into that.
Yeah, and I think as a result, we're fed up. And only superhero movies that stand out are probably Spider-Man and Batman, to name specifically. But if it's got an auteur behind it, like, I'm going to be honest, Zack Snyder would be an auteur in his own right. Mm-hmm. But James Gunn would be one. And unless it's, I said Batman, Spider-Man, Deadpool's another one. So, just to name a few, because the hype is now gone. Mm-hmm. These days, superhero movies are becoming, I mean, we've got a few little now.
So I think that because there's so many people are expecting more.
Yeah.
Because there's so many. It's like, okay, I've seen this now. Why? I've given you now, let's say it's a tenner for a movie ticket. I've gone to see 30 of your movies. I've given you €300 to see these movies now at this point, if not more.
Yeah.
Why should I continue giving you the money? And if the studios aren't proving why we should continue giving them the money, then the money's not going to come anymore. So I think that's why people are getting... that's why superhero fatigue is so prevalent, is because they're giving us the same thing and looking for the same money. And
it's not just DC, it's Marvel as well.
No, it's both. It's absolutely both.
With the Marvels, literally.
Yeah.
That movie and Ant-Man as well, in the Quantumania.
Mm-hmm.
Sony is doing its own thing where even... Sony is between Marvel, Sony and DC, they're all very unique in its way, but DC is the one with the brightest future right now.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because like that Sony is in a way very hit or miss in terms of, like, they do great with the Spider-Verse movies because they are something new, something different.
And I think they're doing well with Venom movies. The
Venom movies seem to be doing well. I mean, we're coming out with the third one now soon.
Just because it's not the Venom that most people would want, it's still doing well. People are accepting it. But
then they'll come out with a Morbius or a Madam Web or a
Craven. No, man, we haven't seen Madam Web. We don't know what we're in for.
I'm prejudging it, in fairness.
Yeah, man. But, don't prejudge.
But then, like, you look at Amazon, and Amazon have The Boys and Invincible.
Oh no,
which are
you're going into quality territory now.
Yeah, but see, that's what I mean. They're new on the landscape and they're doing something different.
Yeah, but they're the scene stealers. You see, they're the Boys and Invincible, Umbrella Academy, Doom Patrol for most of the time. Like, that's new territory. That's not that's on top, and it's doing it egoless. So no, I don't want to get into that because
it's a completely separate genre, different topic.
It's in its own league. So for me, Patrick Wilson, P. Willie, was the scene stealer for this movie. He was the best part of this movie.
Yeah, and I think you as we were coming home from this now, you said something that I agree with. I think that if you're going to be having characters cross over now into the DCU and sorry, not characters, but actors cross over into the DCU that have already played previous characters, that Patrick Wilson would be a great one. And do you want to go into this, what you were saying to me about who you'd like him to play?
It's because he gave that smile and smirk, and he did it slowly. He did it in a way Patrick Wilson could do it.
To Dolph Lundgren, just in the final battle when he's hanging on by the ledge.
It's because they're setting up a bit of a rivalry between these two. Orm has a chance to save Dolph Lundgren. Instead, he smirks slowly, does a Pennywise, and moves behind the ledge. And he's a real Negan, that guy. But in he comes in to save the day. Oh no, we're just joshing you. But I think Patrick Wilson would be a great Reverse Flash. Just if you know Patrick Wilson and you see him with that hairdo, he'd be a good Reverse Flash, I think, because he can appeal to you friendly, but he can be very mischievous. Yes. So,
it's not one that I was ever thinking. Personally, I would love to see the guy that plays Homelander, Anthony Starr.
Yeah.
I think he'd be a great Reverse Flash, and then I think as well Matthew McConaughey or Dan Stevens. Do you know? That's who I always envisioned as Reverse Flash. I even like the guy who plays Reverse Flash in the Flash TV show.
Not Harrison Wells, but actual Eobard Thawne. Yeah, that guy. I know. I like that actor who plays actual Eobard Thawne. Because he comes across as vicious as well as he does appealing. That's why Patrick Wilson for me. And I didn't think about this before.
It's only just in that moment.
It's just in that moment I thought Eobard Thawne. Anthony Starr, he comes across as too far one way and not the other. Mm-hmm. Too much vicious, not enough appealing.
That's from playing Homelander. Though,
yeah, but Jude Law could be someone maybe in my opinion. But when you Matthew McConaughey, nah, I don't want to see Matthew McConaughey in roles like that. But Dan Stevens, maybe, yeah, I think he could be something similar. I think he comes across maybe a bit too gross though. I don't know why I think that. I don't know. My mind's just fixed on Patrick Wilson. P. Willie's reverse flash for me. So, what did you think of Black Manta in this? I know we talked about Yahya Abdul, but what about his arc? Let me elaborate. Yeah. What did you think was going to happen to him in the end?
I did think that he was going to take Aquaman's hand at the end. I didn't think he'd sacrifice himself, but I didn't think much of him, to be honest. Like, it just... when someone's fueled by revenge... But no, there was nothing...
there's no nuance to it, really. No. Like he said, clown work. Do you know who I did think more of, unlike him, who don't include our protagonists? Randall Park.
Yeah, as the scientist. Yeah.
So normally you would have, when you have these type of villains where you have the very physically warrior, action orientated villain, you'd have the geek scientist doing the type of lab work who's a little sniveling little mouse to, it's almost like the Doctor to Zola to Red Skull almost, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, Randall Park was something similar like this, but except he's a good guy.
Yeah.
And
from the start.
Yeah. And I'm actually glad they brought him back like they did with Black Manta. They followed him through. He was in the first Aquaman movie.
The fact you say that, I'm surprised because I didn't watch the first one in preparation for this.
Oh well, yeah, so he's not just introduced in this movie. He's in the first one as a sort of conspiracist, and he does find Black Manta. So
okay, well at least they have that connection to you. And I did like the fact that they mentioned as well why Willem Dafoe's character's not there.
I only reminded myself. I only found out today before watching the movie he's not in the movie.
And they mentioned that as well. Why he's not there?
Why is he?
Because he died from the plague that was coming from the ocean as well. Oh. It was in reality it was scheduling complex. He couldn't do it.
Oh, the plague, that afterthought. That's an afterthought. That's inconsequential to the.
To be honest, if they hadn't mentioned it, I wouldn't have noticed. I genuinely wouldn't have. When they said like, "Oh, Volkor's, this killed Volkor, your mentor," I was like, "Who?" And then I was like, "Oh yeah, Willem Dafoe. I forgot he was in the first one."
Willem Dafoe was worth a spotlight. But that's we've got 67, 78 years for this podcast to do that. Yeah, that's how long we'll be going on
easily.
But yeah, I thought Randall Park was an actual real delight. I actually never got sick of him. I enjoyed seeing him on screen. I even like him in his role as Jim in it.
Jimmy Woo, was it?
In WandaVision.
Yeah.
And in Ant-Man as well. Well, mostly WandaVision. So I was actually very delighted. And I was almost comparing him and Black Manta, their relationship, compared to Orm and Aquaman's relationship. I don't know why. But yeah, the whole movie, in a sense, is dumb. It's dumb.
Yeah.
I actually don't know how to rate it. Would I give it 2 stars? That means I thought Fast X was better. 2.5 maybe. But
Fast X I was entertained by.
By Jason Momoa.
Yeah, by Jason Momoa actually. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, Jason Momoa was the scene stealer. Funny enough, Jason Momoa had a pink robe in this as well, so it was kind of funny. But Jason Momoa was the scene stealer in Fast X. Here it was
P. Willie.
Yeah, P. Willie was Patrick Wilson was Orm. Ocean Master. What a boring rogue villain. When you think an Aquaman villain, you'd think, I guess Black Manta.
That's the only Aquaman villain I know.
Well, Ocean Master is...
Ocean Master and Black Manta. But if it had been before
Aquaman,
either of these movies, I would have said, I know Black Manta.
And you
or I wouldn't have even known his name, but if you'd shown me a picture of all DC villains, I would have pointed at him and said, oh, I know him.
And I like some of the stuff with the big red eyes in the dark and in the mist. You know, it's a little bit of James Wan doing his thing.
Yeah, a little bit of because he had that in the first one. He had the whole trench sequence. There wasn't as much in this one, but there were some horror elements, I suppose. And when I say horror elements, I mean
light horror,
bare bones of darkness and then a flash of lightning or something there, or darkness and the red lights of his eyes pop up. So it's bare bones.
As much as the whole plague and we need to fix the world and global warming and we need to reveal ourselves to the rest of the world, that's all just an afterthought. What? Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't care. And I thought that the whole Corax, the evil entity, Lord Voldemort type of thing. Whatever the fuck that was, like, that's just, oh sure, I guess Black Manta wasn't enough. You had to throw this in.
He had to.
Yeah, he had to
have some reason as to be doing this other than his own motivations.
Yeah,
it had to be something else as well.
Yeah, you had,
and even that wasn't that interesting.
Yeah, it's true. It's the subtitle of the movie, The Lost Kingdom. Whereas, okay, yeah, honestly, you should have just called it Aquaman and P. Willie, or Aquaman and the Six Packs, or Aquaman and Toto, the sidekick octopus. Like,
fuck off with your octopus! Oh my god,
you really didn't think much of the octopus.
I just think it's not that I didn't think much of the octopus. I didn't realize you thought so much about the octopus.
Man, every time the octopus made a gurgle and a noise, you didn't think it was funny?
No.
Man, I fucking love the octopus in that meme. Yeah.
Do you think that you like the octopus because it reminded you of a dog? I find that in a lot of movies and TV shows, if they have an animal in it, if they give it the characteristics or the personality of a dog, it's more likable.
No.
You thought?
I like the octopus because I like as an octopus making those funny little gurgle noises that our human characters can understand, yet we don't. It's an octopus. It can fucking fit into anything. I don't know. I just liked it.
Okay.
Latching it. Man, I fucking love the octopus.
I like your octopus. I don't care. Okay, have the octopus. I don't know about you. I'm done talking about Aquaman. Are you? Have you anything more to say?
Do I have anything more to say about Aquaman? I don't know, dude. This is our first movie talking about a review for 2024. First movie. I know specifically, so... And
probably then the only DC movie we'll have, because I don't think we have any DC movies for 2024, because the next one is Superman Legacy, obviously. So this is the only one, and it's a 2023 release, so interesting that we will go into this year, and realistically, we might the only superhero movie we could be talking about now from this point on could be Deadpool 3.
I don't know, man, we'll see how Echo goes, but if you're talking movie-wise...
Movie-wise, yeah, I'm talking...
Oh, no, man! Madam Web!
Fuck off! Oh my god! Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Madam Web's coming out, man.
And Craven, and maybe Venom 3 as well.
Oh man, Venom 3.
I eat my words, I'm wrong. Have you got any recommendations for us?
Hold on a sec, what'd you think about Boba Fett?
Boba Fett? Oh, yeah, sorry. I was genuinely like, what are you talking about, Boba Fett?
Temuera Morrison.
I felt like the product placement for Guinness was very, very strong with him. It was like every single time he was on screen, he was having a Guinness.
He's a fucking alcoholic or something like that. Like leaving the child on its own on the couch. What if he falls over?
Yeah, genuinely. That child was also supposed to be like 1 year old. After the point, because the baby was like 3 or 4 months at the start of the movie, and then they do 5 months later, and the baby's the exact same. Like, anyone that has a child knows that first year is you're having a very different kid, like, every week.
I'm not given the commitment of my brain to think about that.
To think about the baby.
I'm watching this, wanting a couple of, clashes of tritons and fist fights and six packs and octopuses. I don't know.
I did like the dad joke from Boba Fett, where he's watching the news and they go, thousands of homes without power, and then his power goes out and he goes, make that 1,001, and then stands up, and I literally was like, ha. I don't know if you heard me, but I was like, oh, this is so stupid. This is such a dad joke. Like, it feels like, he was like, someone on the day, like, can I say this line? You know, no one wrote that. It was just him on the day. But I felt like every scene he was in featured a Guinness, and very prominently a Guinness. And I was like, okay, you're beating me over the head with this now.
How long is this episode so far? Right, roughly.
Roughly about an hour.
Oh, I think we need to stop.
Yeah,
can't give Aquaman half the length of this.
Half the length of its own movie. Have you got a recommendation?
Man of Steel.
Oh, you stole my recommendation.
I didn't know what you were gonna pick.
I know, but yeah, if you want to watch a good movie, watch Man of Steel. Absolutely.
Man of Steel. Yeah.
I don't even have a recommendation. That was mine too. So
no, man, don't steal my recommendation.
No, double recommendation.
Double recommendation.
Yeah, Man of Steel.
Then why should it be Man of Steel?
Because it is genuinely like a great superhero movie. It's a great story about. In a lot of traditional superhero media, it's watching an ordinary person become a superhero, whereas in Man of Steel, it's very much how does this superhero be a normal person and navigate that, and then when the people that they love are put in danger because of who they are, not because of who they've chosen to be, but who they genuinely are. And that is he is a Kryptonian, he can't change that. And then people are put in danger, and the planet is put in danger, and he has to step up and deal with the consequences of something that he's not responsible for, but is still a part of. I think it's just a great movie. I think that Zack Snyder took Superman, and while it's not the traditional version of Superman, took him and has his own version, and it's just as valid and just as good as maybe whatever James Gunn gives us.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, okay, brilliant. You agree with that as a recommendation, as a why to watch a Man of Steel?
Oh, my argument was gonna be like, if you don't watch it, fuck you.
Okay, I put it a little bit nicer then, I guess.
Oh man, yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to this rambling, I suppose, of the DCEU and and Aquaman and
this weekly Wednesday waffle.
I like that now. That's our weekly Wednesday waffle done. We really appreciate you listening to this. As you said, this is our first kind of
movie discussing for this year of 2024. We had just recently released our top 10 anticipated movies coming out this year. This is of course being 2023 release. In Ireland, movies coming out at the end of the year we get at the start of the following year. That's why we're so late. But we are on all your podcasting app of choice, so please, whatever you listen on, give us 5 stars. Costs you nothing, gives us everything. It really does help us out. If you like listening to us, just keep listening. Subscribe, show it to your friends if you think they're gonna like what we're discussing, even if it's not every episode. If it's something specific, something interesting, just get them to listen to us. And
if you want us to talk about anything in particular, if you go, oh yeah, I'd like them to talk about this, but they never do, write us in an email just to let us know.
Yeah, we don't know you. Tell us.
Just send it in. We'd appreciate it, and we'll talk about it. We do bonus episodes every couple of weekends where we talk about viewer suggestions or topics or anything like that. So your chance to be on the show. If you want to hear us talk about stuff, please send it in to talkingpicturespodcast1@gmail.com. All of our links are down in the description below, so you can find wherever you're looking for us. We're down there below.
Do you think Jason Momoa should be Lobo?
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, man.
Yes.